I want to welcome y'all back to the Weapon H All-in-One podcast. Got a special guest with me today, my main man, Eric George, actor extraordinaire. This guy has so many credits. We're going to run it down real quick. The guy's been on Living Single, The Parenthood, In the House, Beverly Hills 90210, The Client, Sunset Park, which ended up leading to him getting a role in The Big Easy, which he was a co-star in that one, and it ran for about a good 2 years. Malcolm and Eddie, The Practice, Parkers, NYPD Brew, Book of Love, Dragnet, Malcolm in the Middle, Bones, Dexter, and Private Practice, just to name a few. Guys, movie credits all over the place. I'm sure he has a whole lot of stuff, and he'll be bringing some of the stuff down to us a little bit. But my first question for you, Big E, is how hard was it for you to break into the acting business?
First off, what up, Herb?
Yes, sir.
Yo,
good, baby boy.
My boy,
hey, people don't even realize my basketball career this guy played a big part of it. He's the guy that actually brought the coach to see me play, man. So this has been my brother for a long time.
I got tired of you scoring 60 and nobody knew about it. So, hey, man, it's a blessing, bro. But to answer your question, man, I moved out to LA in 94, 2 years after we graduated. And just to try, the acting thing. I have been studying in New York at HB Studios for about 3 years concurrently. And quite honestly, when my brother made it to the NBA and he wasn't really expected to be, that guy first round pick, I said, well, hell, if he can do it, let me just give it a shot. I mean, not that he wasn't deserving of it, but nobody really saw that coming back then. So, the industry was so different, man, back in the mid 90s, man. I got here in 94, right after the earthquake, the big Northridge earthquake. And for the first 6 months, I was messing around, just hanging out, partying. My man, Brian McKnight was my boy. We were hanging. I was staying with him in the club every night. And then my girlfriend at the time, who was my wife, called me and was like, yo, if you out there to party, then you need to bring your butt back and go back to law school or go into state police, like do something. So she challenged me. That next day I went out and got me a little job, night gig. 2 days later, I was in an acting class where that class led me to meeting, Richard T. Jones, which is like one of my dear buddies to this day. And he was the one who actually was like, man, you funny. Like, let me take you to my agent. So the agent at the time that he had was like a good mid-level agent. They had like Halle Berry, Alec Baldwin. They had all these like people before they fully blew.
Right.
And I was like, oh, shit, I ain't ready for that. That's too big. I got a little nervous. So he ended up taking me to a smaller agency called Acme Talent and Literary. And they were like smaller, more boutique. And right out the gate, man, I just started booking, man. And again, it's not that I was the most talented guy. I was fresh-faced, young, hungry. I booked a commercial, Frosted Flakes commercial. And then on the heels of that, I booked Living Single. And then I booked another commercial while I was on Living Single. And then I booked, what's the joint?
Burger King, I think it was.
The Burger King was second after I got Family Matters. So I got Family Matters, commercial, Family Matters, commercial, Living Single. And then the very next job I got was I got Beverly Hills 90210, and then I got The Big Easy. So I did like 8 jobs in about 4 months, man. It was crazy. It was nuts. And so I was gone for 2 years, and then I came back and got another pilot. I did like 2 or 3 pilots that, pilots of shows that they make that they're not sure if they're gonna go to series or not. And I was a finalist, the shows I was on for like 2 or 3 different networks. And it's funny because had them shows gone, man, my career would be in a different place. But we got knocked out for different shows. Like Charm was one of the shows that knocked out one of my shows. Charm went for like 10 years.
Right, yes, it
did.
And
Angel was another show that went for another show that I did another 5 or 6 years. So I was lucky, man. I mean, I know guys that are far better actors. I was just in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing.
Gotcha. You mentioned you were coming out on the West Coast and your wife, girlfriend at the time, still on the East Coast. So you're a Jersey guy. We both Jersey guys. So how was that transition coming from New Jersey to California?
Oh, it's crazy, man, because, they love LA just love East Coast dudes, right? And then
Okay.
you're a black dude, you know, and I'm out here, I'm rocking the ball head, I got the boots, the leather jacks, shit they weren't even ready for, right?
Okay.
And I'm rocking it hard. And you know, people know because most people are transplants that live in LA. They're not from LA,
Right.
especially if they're in the entertainment business. You're very rarely gonna meet people who be like, yeah, I'm from Compton. Like Anthony Anderson is my boy. He's like the only dude I know from LA. You know what I mean? That has like blown up and made it. You know what I'm saying? But I
Right.
knew Ant when nobody knew Ant. Like, you know what I mean? Like 1998, you know, we met each other in a Bill Duke acting class. And
Okay.
it's crazy because it was so many people that are hot right now that was in that class. And you know, Taraji P. Henson was in that class. Anthony was in that class. Shamar Moore was in that class. Lisa Ray McCoy was in that class.
Nice.
Just it was nuts, man. It was nuts. But it was different. The transition going from, you know, cold winters to my first winter here was 98 degrees during Christmas. I was like tripping.
Wow.
And yeah, it was different, man. It's a different way of living from East Coast to West Coast. You know what I mean? But I adapted. You know, I never thought this is year 28 going on year 29. I still can't believe I'm here, bro. You know the deal.
Definitely. Yeah.
Man.
He still hates when I introduce him. I always introduce my main man from LA. You know, he hates that, but, you know,
never, bro.
that's
No,
my guy.
Brick City, Galesburg, all day.
I know that's right. All right. But tell me some of your memorable moments and maybe not so memorable moments of your Hollywood experience.
Man, I've been fired a few times. You know, you only hear about the great things, man.
Exactly.
With this business, man. But the funniest thing is, I booked Moesha when Brandy first got that show. I was supposed to be her boyfriend.
Okay.
So I booked it. I auditioned for it. I booked it. I show up on the set first 2 days of rehearsal, and I just kind of felt like she just wasn't feeling me. Right. Not because she didn't like me. She just decided she wasn't feeling me before she met me. Like when we were doing the table read, she was like giving me attitude. So the night before, I done rehearsed for 4 days, get ready to kill this joint the next day. They called me the night before and was like, you've been released. I'm like, what?
Wow.
It was like, they decided to go in another direction. And the young brother that was killed, that was on Steve Harvey's show, Merlin Santana, really good young actor.
I remember him. Yeah.
He replaced me, but what I didn't know was that like him and Brandy was like kicking it. But the producers wanted somebody else, and she wanted him. So it was her show. And, you know, they fired me, bro. They paid me, gave me the credit and all that other stuff. But I was fired then. And I was fired on another show once before, just chemistry wise. It just wasn't, I didn't like the direction that I was giving. You know me, Herm.
Right.
I'm you know, like Robert Townsend says in Hollywood Shuffle, is always work at the post office, right?
There you go.
And I know I can always come home. So I'm not bending over. I'm not doing, you know, something that's unethical, you know what I mean? And, you know, I lost a job once because a cat hit on me and I said something that was a little norkish, and they let me go for that too. Cause, you know, a dude propositioned me in the late 90s, you know, I'm like,
right.
In my 20s, like, yo, why are you at y'all for that? Right.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
So I've been fired, you know, those are some of the lows. Some of the highs, man, was just making my own movies. You know, I was fortunate enough to make a couple films with my former partner, a guy named Jeff Bird, who's a very good film director and TV director. He's doing really well right now.
Nice.
Directing and executive producing a bunch of shows, man. You know, creating my own stuff, man, is the greatest high that I could have. And I thought being in front of the camera and people knowing who you are when you go places and getting free shit when you go to restaurants, you know, all that stuff happens for actors, especially if you're a regional actor. We were doing the Big Easy in New Orleans. So I was like, football player. I might as well have been on the Saints. Like I was like, very well received down there at the time. And
nice.
But making my own movies, man, I made a couple movies for like $500,000 that we sold. Book of Love, which is like a cult favorite, the definitive reason why men are dogs, romantic comedy. And we made another movie with Regina King and Blair Underwood and Craig Sheffer called Truth Be Told. It was based on my boy Alan and Jeff's short film. You know, seeing those things, you know, I bought this house that I'm sitting in right now based off these little independent movies. Nice. You know what I mean? Yeah, I was able to drop like 50 grand one time and another 75 another time. And, you just never know where your wins are going to come from. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, I guess it's equivalent to what you went through. You get a 30-day contract or a 10-day contract. And if you hoop, you might get a longer, extension.
Right.
It's kind of like this business, man. Like, you never know who is going to be the next thing. Like in one of my acting classes, when I met Richard T. Jones, Jeremy Renner, the cat that's like on fire.
He's playing Hawkeye now, right?
Yeah. Well, Jeremy Renner was in my very first acting class when I met Richard. Him and Richard T were like this. They were both unknown. Rich had just finished What Love Got to Do with It when he played Lil Ike, you know what I mean? Right. Lil Ike,
Oh, wow.
But they were best friends, man. And that dude couldn't get hit by a train if he was standing on the tracks for about 10 or 12, 15 years. Wow. He did this little movie called Dahmer, and he destroyed it and got an Oscar nomination. And those of us who knew that he was dope, like when he was 24, but he probably didn't get that break till he was like late 30s. You know what I mean? So the same is true to Taraji P. Henson. The first time I saw her,
I heard about her stories.
I was like, yo, she's dope. Who is that? Like, I came home and told my wife, her and Anthony Anderson did a scene together. I said, there's these two people in my class, a guy named Anthony Anderson and this girl named Taraji P. Henson. They're going to be stars one day. And at the time, it was me, Shamar, and Anthony was on Hang Time on a little morning show, basketball show. But he wasn't like known yet. But I saw their talent when I first watched them work in this class, man. And I just knew it. It was just a matter of time, man. Everybody, if you stay in this game long enough and you're true to it, you will have an opportunity. I just happened to work really fast, really quick. Right. Like the Lord was like, here. He gave it to me the first 8 months I got here. From 6 months to 8 months, I started working. First 6 months, I was partying my ass off. And your boy, I'm shaking. And my girlfriend, my wife, cussed my ass out, man, and got me straight and got me focused. But I would have never dreamed, bro, that I would still be here in Los Angeles, California, going on 30 years. It's unbelievable.
Wow, that's crazy. As I know, always heard Hollywood has a lot of politics and stuff behind the scenes. But how were you able to, I know you, but for the people that don't know you, how were you able to remain steadfast, stay true to yourself, even though accomplish what you want to do, knowing that all the stuff that's going on in backdoor scenes of Hollywood?
Well, what's crazy though, and you know this, but because you my boy, you lived it with me. Like, I got crazy for a minute. Like in the late 90s, man, I was making some bread. I was making athlete money before before dudes started making, you making $500,000 a year. You was like, whoa, he paid, back in the day. Right. That's not even like the 10th man on the team anymore. But I had some bread, man. I was young and I was the only dude married. So it was hard because I'm seeing all these chicks, man. And your boy Herman. Like, I like the lady.
Absolutely. All right.
And being the only dude that's married, I'm hanging out with Sanaa. I'm hanging out with all these chicks, man. That's hot, like real hot. Regina Hall. Because my boy Jeff was friends with all these chicks, and me and him used to hang out, and we used to hang out with them. And like the hottest of the hottest Black actresses on the planet, they looking at me like, who that? And then they like, oh, you married? Oh, if you wasn't married, I get this to you. I'm like,
don't tell me that. I'm about to pull my blade out, you lady. Don't do that to me right now. I don't want you to get it. You about to have me jump off a cliff. I don't want to hear that.
It was too much when I was 27, 28, 29 years old. Because I got married at 25, and it's because I knew Tila was the right one. I just wasn't really mentally ready to be a husband. So I figured let me fail upward and just before I lose this girl. And it took me, it took me 5 years.
Nice.
It took us to literally for her to put my ass out the house. I was living at the motel for like 4.5 months. And she told me, if we don't go to counseling, it's over. So this ain't no fairy tale romance. I had to work.
Oh, yeah. Well,
real
relationships are always like that. I don't know where the fairy tale stuff come from, but yeah.
And you also know, man, like your dad and Marcus's dad are like my only friends whose parents were together.
Right.
Like I didn't, your father was like my dad. You know what I mean? Absolutely. He was everybody's father. So you know, when you don't see relationships, you don't value them. You know, I got uncles that was like, don't ever get married. Yo,
Right. Yeah. Well, I definitely got a
you
lot
know
of
what I
that.
mean?
So,
You
yeah.
got those uncles too, right?
Yes.
So I think that's why I struggled initially when I got the money. You know, I don't think I've ever changed personally. Like, you know me, man. My spirit is one of love and I embrace everybody. I don't care.
Absolutely.
I've never been a hater. I've never been jealous of people. That's just not my thing. Like, I know God, what he has for me is for me.
And
you know
I
what I
will
mean?
attest to that, people. I've known this guy. I don't care. Like he brought me, the coach to me, and then I started excelling. Man, yo, I never not one time had to question this guy, man. Never ever. So it's always been a stand-up dude, man.
Hey, thank you, man. You know me. We've been friends since we were 14 years old. And you just, you know, what God has for you, God has for you. And Richard T. Jones told me that. He's like, man, don't worry about these auditions, man. Like, before you even go in the room, God has already decided if you're gonna get it. Like, just go with it. Like, don't trip, because I be tripping. I'm like, I wasn't perfect. I said something wrong. And once I adopted that philosophy, things started working out for me. But what I didn't say is, in the middle of all of my success, you know, I got down on my knees and I asked God, I said, if I can't be a good steward over this, if I'm not ready to be the man that I want to be in this business, then take it from me. My marriage was here, my career was here. And literally within a year, the Lord just switched that thing for me, brought our family back together, brought my butt back home. And it's been a struggle. Here's the crazy part. It's been a struggle ever since, career-wise. I mean, I've worked, but nowhere near, you know, I've like turned down jobs. Yeah, I used to turn down jobs. Tilly used to be like, are you crazy? They're not going to always be there. I was like, you crazy? I just did 22 jobs in like 3 years. What are you talking about? And literally, bro, from the moment God elevated this marriage, my career, it forced me to do other things, writing and production and just being creative and push me to other passions like coaching and stuff like that.
And that's actually a good thing, because I mean, it kind of showed you supposed to be on a different path. And that's the way I look at everything. I look at everything that it happens for a reason. If certain thing didn't work out, sure, you might have been trying hard, working hard towards, but if it didn't work out and you got put on another path, all of this was done for a reason. So
and also, man, you, Marcus, you know, even the things you were going through at the time when you were married, like, I think I got the best friends in the world, because you guys have never told me the things I wanted to hear when I needed to hear. You told me exactly the fucking truth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what real boys do. Like, you stink. Like, right now, you stink. And I remember you telling me, Marcus telling me, Eric, man, like, do not let your wife go. You know, he's like, yo, don't do it. Like, all this over here is just, this is all fake. This fake news over here, like Donald Trump is fake, you know? And but I couldn't see it. I just saw
you saw the light. Yeah, you saw the lights. You know, this is glamour and the glitz. I mean, it happens. I've been through. That's why I was able to tell you, because I had been through it. So
but you need true friends, man. Guys that stand with you and for you when you're going through something, man. That, you know, because you can't see it. You know, you're like, fuck that. I'm the man. I'm making the money. I'm doing this. I mean, I was on some bullshit. I was like 30 grand a year as a school teacher, and then I moved out here, and within a year and a half, I'm making 350 grand, then 450, then 520. Man, you might have told me I was a first round pick. You know, ego, like, shit, I come in when I want to come in. Till it was like, click, change the locks. I said,
hey, that's what it is. Something you had brought up to me a while back, and I found it kind of interesting, because I hear people talk about it a lot of times, is the residuals, and how does that work? Because I remember you telling me, like, it's not what everyone thinks it is. So how does the residuals thing work? And touch on that a little bit.
Well, if you are the main person, like, give you a case in point. I was on the Big Easy. First year I was 6 of 6 characters. Year 2, I'm 1 of 2. They made it a buddy show.
Right.
So the guy whose name is the first name on the call sheet, he's the person or she's the person, it's their show. Like Will Smith with the Fresh Prince, as successful as that show is, he's the only one on that cast that still gets paid in perpetuity. Right. Like, all of them after year 10 or 8, when it went off the air, probably 5 years after it went to syndication, all of their monies ran out. Now they're getting like dimes and pennies and nickels for the. Will told me one time, when the Fresh Prince was over, maybe about 2 years over, because we used to hoop at Dwayne Martin and Tisha Martin's, Campbell Martin old house over by my house.
Right, I remember that.
Will told me one day, we were just rapping. He was like, "E man," he says, "I have not." And at this point, this is all those blockbusters he had, like Blockbuster, Men in Black, like Independence Day. He had like 3 or 4 in a row that was like 300, 400, 500 $1 billion, and he was like, he told us, we were sitting there drinking and eating. He says, "I haven't touched any of my movie money yet. I'm just living off the residuals from the Fresh Prince." He was like, "Wow, it's just wow, it's crazy the amount of money when it's your show and you're an executive producer or creator." A buddy of mine knows the gentleman that created Married with Children, a Black man. Michael Moyer created that show.
Really? I did not know that.
Know that.
Wow,
Michael Moyer
did not know that. Unbelievable.
Next time you see that shit, Michael Moyer created that show. And I work with
now I feel a whole lot better about watching it now.
Hey, bro, Rose Jackson
hilarious.
is his wife. And I worked with her once before, and all of a sudden she just disappeared. They got married. The first year that thing went into syndication, my man is friends with him. He was like, "E, every 6 to 8 weeks, he gets checks like anywhere between $3 to $5 million. They moved to Hawaii. They ain't never came back."
Nice.
And you got to understand how television works. It's markets. So in Jersey is one market, but the sub-cities in each city is a different royalty for the creators and the producers of the show.
Nice.
So they're splitting money with the network. I mean, like the producers are the people you never see, but you look up and they're building onto their house. Because it's so much money, Herm, when the show is successful, that they got to go buy things just to make sure the government don't take the money. You know what I mean?
Unbelievable.
So,
that's
tough. The producer money, listen, forget athletes, forget all that shit. Yeah,
it's the producer
money running out.
That's basically like money that keeps adding on and adding on and adding on. So you don't even have to work for that no more. Right. So
it loops. When you die, your kids get it. When they die,
so it is able to transfer.
It keeps looping. Like Lucille Ball. Think about Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball from I Love Lucy. The creators, all of those people are dead from that. But their kids are getting those residuals now.
Nice.
Because they're still playing that thing all over the world, man.
Yeah, that is crazy. That is
crazy money,
dope,
man.
though. It's about that. That's where you wanted to be at, bro.
Crazy.
Seriously. So anything.
And that's I'm sorry, but that's the thing why people, they try to just get one hit. Because if you get one hit and you are like one of the main executive producers or the creator of it, man, you just go on. You good. That thing go to 100 shows. Bye. See you later. Bye.
That makes sense now. That makes sense why everybody, like, especially in the movie, that one hit wonder, hey, you can live off that. You can talk stuff about me all day long, but that one hit wonder is paying me still. So I get it.
What's the boy that knocked Tyson out? Not Riddick Bowe. The boy that knocked
Buster
Tyson
Douglas.
Out. Buster Douglas syndrome.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So you got any new projects coming up?
You know what, man? I'm working right now on a pilot that me and my man Jeff did like 10 or 12 years ago. Okay. By the grace of God, I got in the right hands of a streaming company that's owned by African-American brothers, and they loved it. And just show you how God worked, I coached this gentleman's sons at my high school as a high school basketball coach. And he only know me as Coach E, and I know him as Dave. Right. And we're at a picnic together, and a third party person was like, y'all two need to get together because y'all in the same industry. I didn't know, because I don't ask the parents what they do. I just, you so-and-so. I mean, I got major Hollywood people who I didn't even know who they were because I just know them as, hey, that's so-and-so's dad. But I showed him my the pilot, and I showed him a couple of my things, and they called him and his partner and said, look, we want to make a deal for this show. I love it. We just need to bring it up to modern day, because this is like a decade plus ago. Right. Me and my wife put out $150K on this out our house. I mean, people don't even understand it to the lengths of, like, my wife, man, like, I couldn't leave her if I tried, bro. I'm so locked into this one, man. Like, we done been through everything. I done took us through a bankruptcy.
Beautiful thing, man.
Hey, man, listen, I'm not ashamed to tell you, I done fucked up a lot of money. I fucked up over $500,000 between real estate, investing in my own projects. And every step along the way, this woman has been like, yo, I'm with you. So, by the grace of God, this is like 15 years later, man, this thing is coming full circle. Not only are we going to make the money, get our money back, but we're actually going to be able to produce 10 episodes. So I'm
Nice.
really excited about that right now. It's called Served.
Okay,
It's,
yep, that was coming next.
it's a show about, people get served, process served, you hiding from them jokers who serving you court papers.
Uh-huh.
It's a show about these zany process servers and black guy, white guy. I'm running the company and it's just zany. It's a lot of celebrities, a lot of,
Nice.
a lot of now culture, you know what I mean? It's going to be really funny. So that's one thing, but we're doing an overall deal. I did a deal with them where they want me to do multiple projects. So you know me, Herm, I've been working as a social worker, teacher. I've been doing everything. So for God to bring this thing full circle right after my kids graduate from college, man, because that's all my wife was like, yo, just go get a regular job until they get out of high school and college and then go back and do what you want. So literally on the heels of them being out of college a year, I've been praying just for the Lord, because I didn't move to LA to do anything else other than work in this business. I could do this shit from New Jersey. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Mm-hmm.
But to just have this thing come full circle, man. And I tell people, what people need to know, man, is I've been fortunate enough to experience the highs and the lows. Now I just want to do the shit that I'm passionate about. I can make 50, give me the salary that I make teaching and social work and all this other stuff, but let me do what I want to do the way I want to do it. It feels so much better.
And that's what it's really all about, man. It's really all about doing what it is that you like to do, that you have a passion for. I mean, we've been through all the phases where we trying to chase the money, and chasing the money really doesn't get you what you want. It starts, even if it's less money, but you enjoy what you're doing, in the end, you're going to put more passion into it. And in the end, it's actually going to pick up and you'll get that money back any damn way.
Hey, man, I'm trying to teach my son, who's about to turn 25 tomorrow, that all money is not good money. Like he left the job that gave a substantial raise after he left, but he hated the job. And I told him, it doesn't matter if they would have gave you 100,000. If you got a pit in your stomach every time you wake up and turn your computer on because you got to work for these people, it doesn't matter how much money. But he hasn't lived long enough, Herm. Us in our 50s, we already know, just like every chick ain't good for you, no matter how she look, right?
Right.
The same thing is money with money. Like, all money is not good money. I have turned down some opportunities that I would have had to sacrifice. And I had a dude told me, basically, if I was his chick, he'd take care of me. Like, I'm just like, yo, you know who you're talking to? Like, bro, no part of me reads that. No part. Like, you ain't never met me and thought that, yo, maybe he in that life. You know what I'm saying? I don't get that off. But I know guys, I know people who have gone there and have sold their souls for an opportunity to be in something or to get a break. And I will bring my ass back to Jersey, year 30, knowing I've done all I could do the best I can. And I've never sacrificed who I am as a Black man in America for nobody and no job. I've never done that.
There you go.
I never will.
That's what's up. Hey, you have to. All right, before we get out of here, I was cracking up today because I said, since I'm doing the interview, I said, let me go run back and watch a few episodes. So I went back and did the Parker one. I was like, this joker went to the door and kissed Monique. You got to tell me that one, bro.
Hey, let me tell you something, man. Monique has been ridiculed.
Yes, unnecessarily.
I mean, listen, and again, I'm not making this a black-white thing, but if Monique was a white actress, her career would have never been derailed. With everything she said and everything that she's done, I'm not saying she did everything right, but I'm saying that Monique stands for something, man. Like, that sister was so cool to me when I worked on that show. Tried to get me back on to play like her because she liked me. She's like, you know what, I'm gonna bring you back, because she was an EP of the show. Right. But Monique is she's like a female Nat Turner. You know what I mean? She tells you the truth.
All right, that's what you want, though.
In this industry, like when Cap took a knee, like every time anybody of color stand up and tell you the truth, they get some semblance of being blackballed, and I don't understand that.
And I just watched that documentary on your boy, because you was the one I told people today.
Mahmoud?
Yes, I said Eric's the one that put me on Chris Jackson, and then
Yeah.
Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. That
Yes.
documentary is good, bro. So you want to check
Oh,
that
bro,
out.
listen, I don't even have
Just
Showtime.
watched it.
That's the one channel I don't have, but I'm going to subscribe.
Find a way. Yeah, you
that.
can get, I think you get a little trial. You get the trial, and then you can go in there and get that.
Can you imagine, though, what he had to do, man? What he had to give up, what he lost?
They put a lot, they showed it. They showed it. They put a lot of that in there, and I said it was actually a great documentary.
I heard.
Make sure, because we are running out of time here. I want to make sure that you have any information, website, anything you want to put out there for people to follow.
Well, as of right now, I don't have anything up because, quite honestly, I've been out of the business for almost a decade. I had to take some time off. The resurgence of my career, I think, is this year is starting to happen. I will be using the social media platforms, but I like to get some things up and going first. You know,
Gotcha.
We're also working on a documentary about the Yukon Huskies from when my brother was there. From the beginning of the 86 to the 90, like the building of that dynasty. I'm doing it with my buddy who's an elite Yukon alum who works with the gentleman the people who created Game of Thrones. He's my partner on it. So, you know, I got 2 or 3 projects right now that I'm working on. I'm just going to wait till they're moving before I, run my mouth, about anything.
Okay. That's good enough. Good enough. So I'll make sure everybody subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yes,
we're going to follow on Instagram, Facebook, and all that stuff. And I'll make sure, I'll put the word out there. I'm going to try to do a little snippet of the interview to post up. And, hey, man, very welcome. Hey, thank you very much, man, for coming through. Hey, beautiful interview, man. I loved every minute of it, bro.
Hey, man, you are my brother. I'm taking bullets for you all day.
You better believe it. That's what we do.
My roommate, college roommate.
Long time friend. So thank everybody once again for joining in. My man, Eric George, appreciate you. And until next time, we'll see you on the Weapon H All-in-One podcast.
Hey, the best trainer in the world, too. I hate his ass every morning.
You know that's right.
I got.
Got it.
Later.
Later.